The pink camouflage is one of those oddities from the Second World War that almost no one knows about because, well, all the videos and photographs of the time were in black and white, at least most of them. But this camouflage was actually widely used in England, and in fact, although it may sound strange, it was very good. On this channel, we have talked a lot about camouflage on Allied planes, from the yellow on German planes to the silver on American and British planes. But certainly the pink camouflage of the British Spitfires and other vehicles was something really puzzling. Why pink? What benefit could you get from having your plane in this color? In this video, we will talk even more about the camouflages of World War II in order to explain why the British used pink planes and other vehicles. So get comfortable. My name is Kevin Aguilar, and this is Guns Club. The Supermarine Spitfire is one of the most recognizable fighters of World War II. It was certainly exceptional for its time, having alongside the Hawker Hurricane a prominent role in the air battles of the Battle of England in '41. The British were experts in camouflage. The Spitfire, widely used in Africa and Europe after the Battle of England, featured various camouflages tailored to the specific regions where it was deployed. Its environment. In Africa, its camouflage was sand and stone color, with a bright blue on the bottom to blend in with the sky. In Europe, brown, green, and gray would be predominant. However, as we saw in other videos as the Second World War was developing, the importance of camouflage gradually decreased, prioritizing the quick identification of the ally more and more, and of the enemy. For this reason, as the conflict progressed, the elaborate camouflages began to be used with very flashy stripes, or directly these camouflages were eliminated completely, as in the case of the Americans, to save weight. But in the particular case of pink, it didn't come about so that the British could identify each other, as you probably think. It wasn't used because they were planes for female pilots either, as I saw in some forums on the topic. As funny as it sounds, some people defended this theory tooth and nail. The pink was actually introduced to blend in even more during certain weather events. These planes were painted pink because they flew missions at dawn and dusk. At twilight, both evening and morning, the sky in areas surrounding Europe turns a reddish color tending towards pink. At these two times of the day, all camouflage was invalidated by the colors caused by the sun and clouds, as they could not blend in with the sky or the earth. So the British developed this camouflage for the Spitfires, specifically to be used at these times of the day. These dawn and dusk colors only manifested below the clouds, so these usually flew at low altitude due to the characteristics of their mission. The pink camouflage was ideal. It was called Mountbatten pink, and in fact it was invented at sea. In 1940, shortly before the Spitfires emerged, Lord Mountbatten Pink was participating in the escort of a convoy of ships. At one point in the journey, it seemed to him that one of the ships belonging to the Union Cast Line Company disappeared from sight much earlier than the rest. Paying more attention to the ship, he was able to verify that its color was a mix between gray and lavender. Mountbatten came to the conclusion that the hue of this color was perfect for camouflaging ships, and thus was born what was informally called Mountbatten Pink, or Rosa Mountbatten. The Mountbatten pink color hid the lines of the ship, and even depending on the distance, also made it difficult to predict its position and movements, which made it difficult to shoot at it. The Her Majesty's ship Anchusa was one of the first ships to use this camouflage, participating as an escort in numerous convoys. In several battles, the crew also noticed that the German coastal guns tended to miss a lot when they fired at the pink ships. Regrettably, only anecdotal data existed, and pink appeared disadvantaged in most situations. So by the sea for 1942, this camouflage was no longer used, as the British decided to standardize gray for all their ships. This pink color was taken from the sea and brought to the Spitfires. As we mentioned, they were necessary for a particular group of reconnaissance Spitfires, which instead of having machine guns mounted extra fuel tanks to be able to fly for much longer. Many of these flew to Germany to take reconnaissance photos of German infrastructure for future bombing operations prior to the Normandy landing. It's a bit disconcerting to think that pink planes were used in World War II, but as you can see, the camouflage was certainly very hard to detect in European sunsets and sunrises. There were also other types of camouflage for the photo-reconnaissance Spitfires, like this curious blue color. These were also intended to fly at times close to dusk, however at much higher altitudes than the pink Spitfires. As we mentioned before, as the conflict progressed, camouflage became less important, so much so that by the time of the Normandy landing, the British didn't care much about painting these invasion stripes on these planes, which are these black and white lines that the Allies used on D-Day to recognize each other. Clearly, by putting these lines on the planes, they lost the ability to camouflage completely, showing that by that point, camouflage was not such an important factor for the conflict. Interestingly, the Manhattan pink was also used on light ground vehicles by the Desert Rats. In North Africa against the Germans, as they claimed this camouflage was very useful at long distances, giving rise to desert pink camouflage. There are very few photos of this, and the evidence is purely anecdotal. There is very little information about the effectiveness of this camouflage in the desert, at least in World War II. However, it is widely accepted that these camouflages were used in North Africa, where their vehicles were all pink, without any other pattern, or in combinations with green or sand color, and in fact, this camouflage was again widely used in the British Special Air Service, Land Rovers in the 60s and 70s, prevailing much longer. Until the 90s, these Land Rovers earned the nickname of Pink Panther, and it was the most characteristic color of these vehicles. After the conflict ended, the camouflage seen on Spitfire PL 965 was never spotted in the sky again, which is certainly very intriguing. That even such striking colors as pink could be useful on the battlefields. If you want to know exactly why the Americans completely removed the paint from their planes to leave them all silver, I recommend you watch this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.